Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Building a Controllable, Scalable, and Expandable Business with MAPS coach Kristan Cole. This webinar is being recorded, and you'll automatically receive the webinar recording. If you have questions for your coach, please type it in the questions box located in your webinar taskbar. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching programs, please email us at maps@kw.com. That's all from me. Kristan, take it away.
Awesome. Well, today, how would you guys like to talk about something that I haven't heard anybody talking about, and I do think it's super important. So hopefully y'all can see me. So just type in the chat box, would you like to talk about something that hasn't been talked about before that is important if you're going to build a scalable business, especially if you want to build an empire? You want to type something in the question box? Tell me yes, you want to hear it? Because I'm excited about it today. Okay, I see a bunch of yeses coming in. That's awesome. Okay, well, good. Now this is going to be interactive today. So in order for you to get the most out of it, you know, when I say, hey, type something in the questions box, go ahead and do that, because that is absolutely the way that you're gonna be able to get the most out of it. So let me just make sure my questions box is all set up. I think it is. Okay. So what do you think the most important thing is if you're going to build a scalable business, meaning one that gets really big, and then be able to expand it if you so desire into either another area of the city or maybe another location, and you in essence want to build an empire? What do you think the most important? Just out of curiosity. Let's see. I see people. So James said people. What else do we have? Anybody else want to guess it? Systems. Yeah, those are both very important things. But what's even more important than people and systems? Because without the core values are critically important. So who's the caretaker of the core values and the and having a plan, having people? If you don't have this one thing, chances are the business is not going to succeed, and chances are you're probably not going to go to work for that corporation, or maybe go into business with them, or maybe become part of their organization. So again, let's think back. We all know, you know, we can think of the what things, what we need to do. Oftentimes we can think about how do we need to do it? How do we need to scale something? What's the how in it? But before the how and the what comes before the how and the what? Go ahead and type it in. What comes before the how and the what? The why? Yes. Now, today, here's the earth-shattering thing that we're going to talk about today. For the why. Why to how to what. So why do we want to do it? How are we going to do it? What are we going to do? But what's even before the why? Well, vision, yes. So I'm going to tell you, because I don't hear it talked about a lot. So if you think about this, think about some of the companies that have been, you know, recreated, reincarnated, revived, whatever you want to however you want to say it. Let's take our own company. Would you guys all agree that in January of 2019, our company took a significant pivot? So I'm assuming you guys will all agree with me on that. What made us take a significant pivot and has sent us down the road that we're headed on right now? What has done that? I said it was going to be interactive. Vision, investment in technology, becoming a tech company. The who said that? Jeremy. Okay, so you're absolutely right. So here's what I'd say. Okay, let me ask you a question. Can you guys all see my webcam? Can you guys actually see? Yes, no, yes. Okay, awesome. So think about this. Does anybody on this call want to go to work for Century 21? Go to work for Better Homes and Gardens? Go to work for XYZ real estate company? Does anybody want to do that? No, I agree. So why is it that you want to come to work for this company? Why this company? Why Keller Williams? What does our company, family, 100% agree with you, Bubba, but that feeling of family and that culture starts where? It starts at the top with who? Gary. Yes, 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 and yes. So here's what I want you guys to think about today. You want to build a scalable business. You want to build something that can get really big, that perhaps you might want to expand either locally or city or across the state or across a border. You're going to have, would you guys all agree that you're going to need great people, great values, great systems, all that, but don't you also think you need a leader that you believe in, that knows where they're going, knows why they want to go there, how they're going to get there, and what they're going to do? So my point of saying that to all of this is this: January 1 has come and gone, and I bet a lot of us made January 1st goals, and those goals in January typically sound like, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, I'm going to exercise 3 days a week, I'm going to drink more water, I'm going to take more family time, I'm going to be where I am when I'm there, meaning be where you are with my family. I'm going to take a vacation this year. We come up with all of these goals. Now, when you those are all goals about what we're going to do. Let's see, it says, you cut out for a second. Okay, sorry about that. So that's all about what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, or mostly it's about what you're going to be doing. So all of us are really good about setting doing goals. There's nothing wrong with doing goals, but most of us that set the goals, I'm going to lose church, I'm going to do more things with my family, et cetera, et cetera. When most of us have those types of goals, the problem is, what happens by Valentine's Day? What happens by St. Patrick's Day? What happens to going to the gym, losing weight, spending more time with my family, being a kinder person? What happens to all that by March the 1st? Old habits set back in. Yeah, you go back to your old habits. There's 3 reasons we go back to our old habits. There's 3 of them. The first one is we fail to see that incremental goals is the way to have success. There is no such thing as get rich quick, and there's no such thing as lose 30 pounds in 1 week. And we all know that. We all know that. And what I would share with you, if you take an Excel spreadsheet and you put, I'm going to get 1% better each day, and you go 365 days from now, it will show you the math. Do the math. No kidding. It will show that you will be 37 times better than you are today. It's called a compounding effect. And so we all know in our heads, like, we make these goals and then we don't continue to succeed with the goals because, number one, we don't see results fast enough, and it's incremental. And when we don't see results fast enough, most of us drop out and we just quit. And here's the thing. Would you guys believe me if I told you that 80% of the people drop out by all the goals that they've set because they were things that they set out to go do, and they failed to think about who they're becoming. So here's what I want you to think about today, and we're going to talk more about this. It's who before the do. So all of us make great goals about what we're going to go do, but do we start first with the who? What are our goals for who we want to become? Are we becoming a leader worth following? Are we becoming the wife or the spouse or the grandparent or the leader worth following? So I submit to you that the number 3 reason that we don't hit our to-do goals or our do goals is because we haven't decided who we're going to be. And if you will stop and make your goals around who are you going to become this year, I promise you the do gets done automatically. But it all starts with us. It starts with us and us making decisions. And it starts with us deciding what we want to do. You can build an empire. You can. But if you build it on a sea of hope, let me tell you, folks, you're going to end up with a sea of disappointment. And no one, no one wants to feel bad. No one wants to wake up February 14th and all the doing goals that you've set have gone out the window. And so we all want a better year. We all want to change. But here's what I do know. I know this for a flat fact. 92% of you will not get better this year unless you start with who you are first and who you want to become. Because it's just the facts, ladies and gentlemen. Only 8% of the people will achieve their goals this year, their due goals, because they're the only people that are actually starting first with who they are as a leader and who they need to become. And you know what? If you're not leading people, guess what? You still have to lead you. You still have a family to lead. So let me ask you guys, what do you want to see different in your lives in 2020? What do you really want to see as a big change in 2020 in your lives? Go ahead and type it in there. What do you want to most change? Now, I don't see anything coming in the chat box, and it's probably, oh, wait, maybe we're going to see leveraging other people, the who. Okay, what else? Help them grow. I like that. More fulfillment. Amen. Yeah, so I see on here people want more fulfillment. They want to leverage other people. That could lead them to more fulfillment. They want to help them grow. That leads to more fulfillment, for sure. Success. You want success, including yourself. There's some things, let's see. These are some things we've always wanted to do. It's time to map it out and execute. Great, great. 100% agree. Would you guys all agree that if you want something different than you got in 2019, you're going to have to change what you've done before? Because we all know that's just insanity, thinking that we're going to do the same things we've always done and get a different result. So what I'm super excited about today is really thinking about, how do you actually transform your lives? Well, the way to transform your lives is to first transform who? Kind of a trick question. Yeah, you. So how would you like to have a different look at how you can actually change successfully and transform your lives? Remember this, big opportunities, ladies and gentlemen, seldom ever come, but small ones surround us every single day. And I promise you, your life will be different if you pick up the small ones that are surrounding you every single day and go do something with them. That takes a mind shift. It takes a shift of, someone's not going to come and discover you. What they're going to discover is the person you become that they want to hang around. They're going to discover, wow, she's really helping me grow. She's really helping me change as a person. I had someone in my office this past week, and she talked about the fact that 2 years ago, she would have handled something completely different. But after coming to our company and learning a different way, and that she has completely changed how she thinks. She's changing who she is. And I wrote this down. If you do the math, and I said it before, through 365 days of getting 1% better, just 1% better each day, you would be 37 times percent different at the end of the year. Think how fast your credit card bill goes up, right? When you're only paying the minimum balance. Because of why? It's because of compounding. So let me ask you this. What are some, if you guys thought really significantly, because if you're going to lead an empire, if you're going to scale a business, it's not going to happen unless you're working with and through other people. And that's not going to happen unless you're a leader worth following. So somebody type some things in the chat box, any of you. What needs to change? What would be a great goal for you personally as a person in order for you to position yourself to be able to be that leader, to scale that business, or scale your department, or scale you? Type in there, what's one goal that you could set about who you are, or what a goal for you personally, who you want to become? Because I promise if you'll work on this harder than anything else, the doing will actually end up happening. So don't be afraid. This isn't like there's no wrong answer. You need an interrogator. Oh, tell me more, James. You need an interrogator. What's that look like? You need to change you? Yes, I agree. We all need, oh, your son. Okay. Oh, that was on what you'd like to, okay, sorry about that. So tell me more, you guys. James, you're the only one that's typed something in on this question. Here's another one. You'd like the accountability. Okay, the accountability to grow, to evolve constantly. So let me just be the accountability, surrounding yourself with people who've been where you want to go and have constantly evolved to grow, doubling your GCI and build a team to sustain your future and your revenue so you can have a life worth living, a life of balance. You want to develop a partner and appreciate appropriate the agent to take over your business so you can step out and lead a nonprofit to serve others. Outstanding. Scheduling, planning, seeking out friends who have done what you'd like to do. Yes. So here's the thing. I actually took some time and wrote down some things the other day that I want. The goals, these are simple goals. You guys are probably going to chuckle when I tell you, but for instance, one of the things I wrote down on my goal sheet for me personally is how can I, what are 2 or 3 things I could do this year to be a better wife and a better mom? And now that seems like, what does that have to do with scaling? What does that have to do with business? What does that have to do with building an empire? I promise you, when your personal life's in order, everything else runs smoothly. So for me, there were several things that I wrote down, and they were pretty simple, but they were all about who I need to become. And yes, following other people who've already done what you've done, maybe, have already built a great character. It's funny, someone went up to John Maxwell the other day and said that they wanted to be him. And this young man was 25 years old. And he said, I want to be you. And John asked him this question: do you want to do what I've done for the last 25 years in order to become who I've become? Because John just didn't get that way overnight. And none of us get that way overnight. I heard Mark Cole on a podcast yesterday talking about a dear friend of theirs that, passed away very suddenly, that used to be on the podcast with Mark, and all that he had learned from that person. And so I'd say that to say, I found myself writing down goals. What goals do I need to work on me? Because I know by doing that and becoming that person, then I become the leader worth following. Let's just think about, let's go back a second. Let's think about Jack Welch. Does anybody remember the company that he took over that was completely in disarray back in the 80s? And he completely transformed the company. Did anybody remember who it was? What company was it? GE. Yes. It looks like Francine, maybe. Yes, it was GE. And how did Welch change GE? I mean, anybody could have gotten in there and taken over the company. Would they have gotten the same results that Jack Welch did? So how did Jack Welch get the results that he got? Does anybody remember what he did? Well, Jack put a ton of pressure on the bottom. Performance standards, yes, Louise, you're right. Jack Welch went in and put standards and pressure on the bottom 20% of the companies, of the people in the company. And he put pressure on them. And all of us have heard Gary Keller say it too. If you want to build a better company, if you want a higher performance, and you've got to put pressure on the bottom 20%. And so the reason I brought up Jack Welch is because he completely transformed General Electric at a time where nobody thought it could be done. And the reason I bring it up is because it was who he was. It's who he had become, and the people were willing to follow him. So we can talk about, the class that we're going to have, about building an empire and scaling a business. But the point is that have you become the leader that you need to become, so that people are going to want to follow you? So if you have any comments, take yourself off of mute and go ahead and tell us what you're thinking right now, and then we'll kind of go on to the next topic. But I think it's super important to understand that you don't get better by losing. You aren't going to lose 30 pounds in a week. You're not going to get better in a week. It's incremental. And those incremental things over time make you who you are. And so rather than starting with the doing, start with you, the who before do. I want you guys to write that down. Who before do. Who before do. Because it's who are you? Why do you want to do what you want to do? How are you going to do it? And what are you going to do? But it all starts with you, the who. Who are you? Are you a leader worth following? So, and this happens over time. So who wants to, does anybody have any comments right now? I see some. Oh, yeah, John, yeah, Jack focused on non-performing divisions. Yes, he focused on what GE was the best at. Yes, he did. That brings up another great point. So he put pressure on the bottom 20% of his divisions, the non-performing folks, with accountability. And he also focused on what they were good at. You know, I find so many times that agents, you know, they want to, you know, grow everything. Well, everything doesn't have the same value as some other things, meaning, you know, depending on your market, for sale by owners might be awesome. But if the market's shifting, there may be a very finite number of for sale by owners. And so that might not be the best thing for you to be focusing on in terms of lead gen. So yes, he focused on standards. He put pressure on the bottom non-performing divisions in the company. He focused on what GE was really good at. So if you guys had to think about you as a person, you as a leader worth following, what are you really good at? Because I think you should focus on those things and focus on, you know, who you are and what you could do at even a higher level. And then who could you go find to fill in the gaps of where maybe you, it's not your strong suit. So what are some of the things that you guys are really good at that are on the call? You can either unmute yourself or you can type it in the questions box. What are you really good at? Relating to people. So if you're really super good at relating to people, should we shove you in a room all day looking at numbers and focusing on financials, Bubba? Yeah, no, probably not. So I think that's the thing. You know, Marcus Buckingham did a study and he talked about, you know, most people think that you should focus on your weaknesses, but the truth is you should focus on your strengths. So let's go back to values a second and culture. Who you are as a person, you're going to attract people that are like you. And so, you know, you want people who have similar values. You want people who you believe can take you where you want to go. And then the question is, are you the leader to help them get there? And if you start with do most people are starting with the do rather than the who. And when you're starting with who you are, you're making a decision. You're making a decision about you are going to be accountable. So some of the who things for you this year could be, I'm going to be an accountable person. I'm going to be someone that my family can depend on. I'm going to be somebody that my team members can depend on. I'm going to be to work on time. I'm going to be a person that follows a schedule. I'm going to be a person that says yes to the right things and no to the wrong things. I'm going to be a person who keeps their commitments. Those are a lot of goals that you could write down about who you are or who you want to become. I'm going to be a leader worth following. I'm going to have character beyond reproach. I'm going to be a woman of one husband. I'm going to be a mother that takes care of her children at a high level and teaches them. I mean, those are all things about who you're becoming. So when I put it in that context, and I realize this is something we haven't talked about before. We've talked about why you want to do something, how you're going to do it, and what you're going to do. But we haven't talked very much about who you are. So does anybody want to either verbally or in the questions box talk about who you want to become? What are some goals about changing, you know, because the third level of change, I mean, the first level is incremental. The second one is staying consistent, you know, not getting discouraged. The third one is really about making who goals. So at the deepest level of change, if you go back and look at 2019 and you are not happy with the results that you got, whether it's with your family, your relationships, your business, yourself personally, personal time, and you're not happy with 2019, guess what? If you don't do something different, you're going to get a repeat of 2019, and only 92% of you are not going to hit your goals. Well, that's not very exciting. You're probably thinking, well, gee, Kristan, be a Debbie Downer. I'm huge on habits, guys. I am huge on habits. I'm huge on goals. What I also understand is that we go through this cycle of disappointment because we haven't decided as a person who we are. So starting with the who, I think, the true change starts with who over do. It always starts with who you are, your identity, what you're going to do, how you want to show up. And I realize that it's not easy, but if you start with who, it will drive you and lead you to the transformational change that you really want, but you've got to start with who you are. So somebody, please tell me just a couple of things about who you want to become this year. I gave you several examples in a row, because that has to come before what you actually are going to do, because the do will come. If you write some meaningful change about your who goals. So write down one who goal that you want to accomplish this year. And somebody type something in the chat box about who do you want to become this year? I want to write gratitudes. Let's see. I want to be resilient. I'm looking forward to growing together. Implementing and the possibility for my clients. Okay. I want to become a powerful instrument of change and possibility for my clients. Wow, that's awesome. I like that. I'm looking for the who so we can grow together. Perfect. Trust me, people feel that. I want to become a powerful instrument of change for the possibilities for all of my clients. Love that. A better husband. Awesome. Because when you write down that goal and then you're looking at your goals every day and you have your goals, I think of it this way. I want you guys to take a sheet of paper. Take a sheet of paper like this. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to fold it in half. Now, you got a sheet of paper folded in half. I want you to start right here. So I want you to write your who goals, like becoming a better husband, your who goals here. Then I want you to flip it over and write your do goals. Like, I'd like to lose 30 pounds. Because if you start with your who goals, I promise you the goals, the do goals you want are going to show up. I want to become a powerful instrument of change. Yes, I agree. Let's see what some other ones are in here. Because you get to define who you are. Yes, all of us are born with natural gifts and natural talents, but at the same time, we all also get to have choice. We all have choice in the matter. We get to choose who we become. We get to choose our who over our do. And I know that some of this is a big ask, and we've never really thought about this before, and I've never heard it talked about a lot. We talk about our why. Our why is important, why we want to do something. But I think if we work just as hard on who we want to become, and think about this. I'm going to draw this for you guys. So watch up here. I'm going to draw you, this is a timeline. And on this timeline, most of change, when we want to change, we see our change like that. And we want to change, and we think change goes just like that. And then we're incredibly disappointed when it doesn't happen that way, right? Because change actually happens like this. Right? Gary says you can be anywhere you want to be in 5 years, and incremental change starts to compound. And once it starts to compound, then you actually see this happen. And the problem is this area right here. This is called the sea of disappointment, or the sea of unmet needs. That's why we stop. That's why we quit. We quit because we don't see change fast enough. But I promise you, if this is all part of who you want to become, then that doesn't matter anymore. You will actually do it. So somebody typed in, I live in health, losing 50 pounds, doing cardio and physical strength so my children are not stressed. A better quality of life. Perfect. Perfect. See, so tying your goals to who you want to become, because in that once you understand that it's incremental over time, it doesn't happen overnight, and that you know that the hockey stick eventually shows up, you would stick with it if you knew that the hockey stick is always going to show up. So I bring this up today because no one builds an empire by themselves. Nobody builds an empire unless they become a leader worth following. Jack Welch was a leader worth following. He knew exactly who he was. He went in, some people say, with kind of an iron fist, but he went in there knowing exactly who he was and then what needed to happen. Who came first? The do came after. So would you guys, before we leave the call today, I would love for you to write down, either you can write it in the questions box if you would like, but I'd like for you to write down, I'd like for you to take this page that we talked about, write down, and if you've never done this before, guess what? It doesn't feel very normal and natural, and that's okay. But I want you to write down your who goals, the goals for who you are and who you want to become. Then take the goals that you already wrote down sometime before January 1st about what you want to do and write them here. If you start with these every day, I promise you these will happen. They will just happen. So I'll say a couple more things, and if you guys have any questions, you can come off of mute, *6 to unmute yourself, or you can type in the questions box. And that is family reunions coming up. And also, so there's going to be a class that I'm teaching at Family Reunion. I'm talking about building an empire and the 6 timeless truths about building an empire. That's on Saturday at 3:30. But here's what I would tell you. You guys talked about accountability at the beginning of this, and I can't agree with you more. Change won't happen on your own. None of us motivate ourselves to such a degree. Let me ask you, I've asked many of you this question. If Gary Keller was sitting next to you every day, would you accomplish something different? Would your accountability look different? Would your lead generation look different? With what comes out of your mouth look different? Would your thinking look different? All of it would look different. So I would submit to you this. If you want different in 2020, sign up for our class called Scale. And it's going to start after Family Reunion. I believe the date's going to be March 18th. It's an 8-week class to teach you how to scale your business one step at a time. It'll have checklists. It'll have every playbook under the sun. We have a playbook for everything, a playbook for onboarding, a playbook for recruiting, a playbook for launching, a playbook for systems, a playbook for operations, a playbook for events, a playbook for everything. So I'd say this, you're on this call, I want to invite you. We're going to have a party at Family Reunion on Friday night from 6 to 10. I invite you guys all to come. It'll be on my Facebook page somewhere. And then come to the class on Saturday on how to build an empire. But more than anything, this doesn't happen without accountability. So I would just highly recommend all of you sign up for the Scale class starting March 18th. Go to the groups coaching program in MAPS, and you'll find me there. And it's called Scale Your Business. I don't care if you're a brand new agent or if you are someone that's looking to go into 5 more states. I promise you this class will be for you, because we have all the tips and tricks, and we have all the checklists and all the resources to actually go do it. You don't have to go build it all yourself. Shoot, the wheel's round. Go find somebody like us here at MAPS that have the systems and models to help you get there. I want your 2020 to look very different than your 2019, and that all starts with you. It all starts with the who before do. So does anybody have any questions before we jump off the call today? Any questions at all? Comments? Any at all? Aw, thank you. You guys are kind. Absolutely. We will see you at Family Reunion. Thanks for all your kind comments. Thank you for interactive today. We will see you at. Don't forget to go to the group MAPS coaching site and sign up for Scale. We'll see you in March. Bye, everybody.